Well, it's an Xfinity Series practice and qualifying from Kansas Speedway in Kansas City, Kansas. The 26th race of the Xfinity Series. This is where the playoff field's going to be set. Myself, Jeff Burton, Brad Doherty in the booth. Our buddy Dave Burns covering all the stories on pit road. Brandon Jones looking to win. His teammate Justin Allgaier with wins on the season is in the playoffs, Brad, but we have to set the field.
Yeah.
One spot basically available. Riley Herbst in a points battle with Parker Kligerman. What do you make of what we're going to see here?
Yeah, all week long, these guys have been nervous about getting into this race car, getting this opportunity. What's going to happen? This 1 point here or there. Well, this is getting ready to go away. You get in a race car, you close that window net, all those nerves subside. You go out and work on your hot rod. You qualify your hot rod. This is the beginning to find out what's going to happen by the end of the day.
Hemrick at plus 55 is basically locked in when he takes the green flag, so it's really just one spot, that 12th spot, and they're going to do it at what appears to be a straightforward mile-and-a-half, Jeff, but it doesn't race that way. Why so much chaos in Kansas?
Yeah, this racetrack it's really wide, number one, but then it has a surface on it that's very similar to Darlington that we were at last week, where it gets very slick, the tires fall off on speed, the cars get very difficult to drive, and the great thing about that is now you have options. You can run the bottom, you can run the middle, you can run the top. So it gives drivers places to go, but that works against you on restarts. So it's crazy restarts, it's chaos out there, and that is not what our guys that are racing to get into this championship are looking for. They want calm, clean races. They don't want chaotic restarts.
Quick, pressure, one spot, a whole regular season. Parker strapped in.
Yeah.
What's he going through?
Yeah, he's really, really nervous right now. But once that engine fires up, all that subsides. But he's thought about this, like I say, all week long. He's overthought it. He's looked at every scenario. He just has to go out and drive as hard as he can, but also drive smart.
Well, the talking stops and laps start on the other side of the break. We're going to see a little bit of practice from the Xfinity Series, see who brought their A game. Playoffs on the line.
With one race to go in the regular season, look down at the cut line.
It would mean a lot to me to win at this level.
We're searching for victory lane and we want to win.
It's a massive opportunity to go out there and prove that I belong at this level.
Riley Herbst, Parker Kligerman, 1 point separating those two.
It's a battle to make the final spot in the playoffs, but Dave, also a battle for Riley Herbst and Parker Kligerman to get their first win in the Xfinity Series.
Steve, I caught up with both of these drivers in the garage area yesterday. Parker, as you might expect, he's a little older than Riley, cool and calm, and thought about the week and what could have been at Darlington, but what wasn't, and put it in perspective and knows that he has to get ahead of Riley in order to get into the playoffs this week, and I hope there's not a situation where he doesn't make it. As for Riley, he was pretty cool, too. We sat in a couple of high chairs and just talked in the shade, and he said, I know people are going to think this is BS, but I don't think about those points. I think about winning. In fact, last week, when the whole thing was going down with Parker, when he got spun, I think they told me that he had issues, but I didn't even hear it. I was thinking about winning that race because we were in position to win the race, and that's how focused he's been. It's been a fun battle to watch. We'll watch it all day long as we see who gets in the playoffs.
I won't lie, Dave. I'm instantly pictured you guys sitting in like high chairs, like for kids.
Sorry,
I know what
director's
you meant.
chair. I should have said director's chair.
Oh. Well, we're going to see a little practice. Only get one set of tires. Jeff, you talked about the surface, right? So the tire is going to lose grip right away. What do? You try to stitch together a 5 or 10. If I'm your crew chief, I'm like, man, if we're close, I want you to run like 15 straight. Give me a little bit longer run.
Yeah, the trouble with pitting is that you now have cycled your tires, and the car does not drive as well or the same as it did if you just went out. So if you see a guy come in and pit, it's because he's not happy with his car. And that is the concern that Parker and Riley, that's what they have, right? Like, is this going to be a good driving car? Is this a car that I like? Is this a car I feel like that we can get this thing done with? If not, you'll see him pit immediately.
Yeah, and that's another great observation. You think about Parker. This is a brand new race car. This is the first brand new mile-and-a-half race car that they've had at this company. So they're going to shake the bugs out, but there's got to be a confidence there because it's got the best of everything giving him every opportunity.
Well, another conversation is going to be the regular season champion. It's still up for grabs. The 21 of Austin Hill currently leads. He goes down in, it looks like a little bit of left front tire rub. I'm not super concerned. It seems pretty light. I'm guessing the top of the tire. Now, you slow it down, it looks a whole lot worse. Don't slow my car down. Just run full speed. Another car as well, the 19. Smoking as well.
Like a fender rubbing on that tire.
Yeah, now he's coming in, Joe Graff Jr., so it's a different situation, right? You have the 21 who runs full-time in that car leading the points. He probably sees the smoke and says, hey, man, I know what it is or isn't. The 19, right, we see Joe Graff Jr. behind the wheel. He doesn't run this car full-time. Dave, he might have a little bit more concern when he sees that smoke.
Steve, the smoke is interesting. I was listening to a driver comment on this practice session this morning on Sirius XM. It was Jeremy Clements in the 51, and he said the hard part about this 20-minute practice is you don't even get to change a spring. You got to come here with what you've got and hope that it's right. Now, Steve, you as a crew chief, I think can make an adjustment on there without changing parts just to get it off that fender.
Yeah, absolutely. You could change your height a little bit. There's a couple other things you could do, and you can see where it's rubbing. You know, if it's on the sidewall, it's a concern because it's pretty thin. But if it's on the top of the tread, no harm, no foul.
We see Daniel Hemrick, fastest team change, driver change this week for this team. Pretty interesting story. Daniel Hemrick, that car number was locked in the points, based on the points it's earned. But Daniel Hemrick wasn't. So they made this switch, but they made the entire switch. Daniel Hemrick now is driving the 10 car. He's driving for that crew chief, that entire team. And this, Brad, with the change, with one race left to go before the playoffs start.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to give himself every opportunity to make sure there's no mistakes. Take advantage of every time they come down pit road. Keep that track position. Hemrick has a cup pole here, so this is a good track for him.
And you wonder, Jeff, you bring up a good point. We could talk about the numbers and all that, but I feel like Kaulig needs a little spark. Right, they have 2 cars in the Cup Series, have really expanded. Matt Kaulig's been in the NASCAR for quite some time now, but expansion's very, very difficult. So, Brad, you kind of went the contraction, right? You went from 2 Cup cars to 1, and congratulations, 500 winner in the playoffs from the outside. Not putting you on the spot, it looks like it improved JTG to go 100%. To 1. I think Kaulig is battling the other side, expanding their organization.
Absolutely, and we looked at it as a small organization trying to get bigger. You think the data points are going to be significant. It's not. If you got one race car that's not running very well and you add another, it just exacerbates the problem.
So, 2 running bad.
It's just 2 bad running race cars. So we went smaller so we could hyper-focus on trying to get the best pieces and parts and give ourselves the best chance to be successful with that one car. And you've seen Kaulig just a little bit. Seems like they're in flux trying to figure out which type of company or what type of company they want to be besides large.
See Brandon Jones. It's been a good racetrack for Brandon. 2 wins here.
Oh, got some smoke on the backstretch as we looking at Brandon.
Oh, wow.
We're going to see a yellow or something come out. You see on the upper left, we have red on the screen. Oh, Rajah Caruth has gone around in the 45 car.
Took a little loop-de-loop down the backstretch there.
Yeah, you see that's at 45. Circle.com on the side. That's an Alpha Prime racing car. We've seen Rajah run a few times. I think this is maybe his 7th start of the season. Let's take a look at what happened off turn 2. We talk about it, Jeff, it's a mile and a half, but we see these yellows on board. This would be a great shot.
Well, what's great about that in-car, he never quit driving that thing. You heard him in the throttle. Car came around, he stood in the throttle, and now he's heading down the track. And look, all 4 tires are locked up. Just hoping it doesn't hit that inside wall.
Less than 12 minutes remain in Xfinity Series practice from Kansas Speedway. The 45 of Rajah Caruth brought out a caution spinning down the backstretch. Rajah finished 12th last night in the truck race, Jeff, but unfortunately that spin is going to damage these tires, so his practice is over.
Yeah, that's right. You don't get another set of tires. So here's Rajah, his 7th Xfinity start of the year. He's still learning how to drive these race cars, and he's in the gas. Car's feeling pretty good. It goes around on him, and now he's done. His practice is over. It used to be in this series we'd have an hour practice, and they would give rookies another set of tires. That's what we need to do for this type of series. We need to give these young drivers an opportunity to get lap time. But instead, he made a mistake, and now he's sitting there learning absolutely nothing. These short practices I know they do some good things, but there's also some negatives for young drivers.
Yeah, and that negative is going to create a lot of frustration for that young driver as well. This is a racetrack like we talked about earlier. I mean, it can be abrasive at times. There's so much you have to glean from practice, even though it's short. You have to go out, figure out where your car is good, where it'll stick, And now we got another caution.
Yeah, welcome to Kansas, right? We talk about the chaos of Kansas, and we're seeing it already. This is Nick Lights in the 38.
Yeah, Nick has a few starts in the Truck Series. Nick's a late model racer. Langley Speedway, got in, has a few wins, started racing go-karts when he was a young guy, moved up to legend cars, and now getting an opportunity to drive this car, and much like we just saw with Raja. I mean, he's a young driver trying to get laps and probably damaged tires now.
My old buddy Steve Addington is the crew chief on this car. So you talk about young driver. He has a lot of experience on top of the pit box, which will help him keep him calm after this. I mean, some contact, but, well, I say not a lot of contact. I'm looking at the deck lid. Deck lid looks pretty good. I think this is going to be a car that he'll be able to continue the weekend. Brandon Jones coming behind him in kind of a must-win is thinking, man, I don't want to hit you at this point. All right, well, another stop in practice. Get in the game with NASCAR Fantasy Live. Create an entry by picking 5 drivers plus a garage driver to compete. Fantasy Live will let you keep tabs on your lineup and make in-race adjustments to maximize your score. Visit NASCAR.com/fantasy to start. And good luck if you are in Fantasy Live, because Marty is like top 30 of everybody who plays, and he brags about it. Dave, what are you hearing from the 38 Parker, currently 13th in the speed charts?
Little 98 first. Herbst is 8th in single lap times and 3rd in 5-lap averages. Not so for Parker Kligerman, 13th. He was told early on in his run, we're about 3/10 off where we need to be. Yikes, that's big news. But then, after they made an adjustment, Patrick Donahue, his crew chief, told him, Parker, that's the best we have been all year long. And I believe he's referring to practice and mile-and-a-half tracks. The car was coming to him after that adjustment. So Parker going in the right direction, trying to stay with that 98.
And it's a busy, busy track as the time continues to run. 6 minutes left. NASCAR discussed, should we add time with the yellows? But they're going to keep it as planned. So let's ride on board with Parker. Jeff, take us around Kansas here. Teach us something.
Yeah, it's a great racetrack. It's fun racetrack. It's wide. It's slick. So right now, Parker's managing his entry speed. How far can I drive this thing in the corner? Kansas is it's a tough racetrack because it looks really wide, and it is, but you can overdrive the entry of turn 1. You got to be smart about how you do that. Turn 3, you can be much more aggressive on corner entry. Drive it down in there, but Parker's already to the top. Parker with only 6 laps on his tires, you can see how quickly he's moved to the top, and that's what drivers like about this place. Why do you go to the top? You don't have to turn the steering wheel as much. You don't ask as much of the race car. You tend to lift a little bit early, but go back to the gas quicker, and that tends to make the straightaway speed a little bit better.
Yeah, and when you're talking about a veteran who really can take advantage of running around a kind of a slick racetrack, that's going to be Justin Allgaier. That's his forte. The looser his race car is, the faster he goes. And we haven't talked about him a whole lot. We've been focused on the battle with Herbst and Kligerman, and we've talked about, Nemechek and Austin Hill. This guy is right in the middle of the hunt. He's a veteran, been in this series, as we know, for several years, always chasing that championship. This could be the guy that wins the championship this year.
Well, if he's going to win a championship, he's going to have to beat his teammate. I know Josh Berry is winless this year, 3 wins a year ago, but this is it. He's moving on and up, heading to the Cup Series, taking over the 4 car for Kevin Harvick. We have seen him run the 42 a little bit on Sundays in the fill-in role for the Legacy Motorsports, but now Josh Berry can focus on this 8 car, and I believe this is the track we could see kind of a bounce back for the 8. Tons of speed recently. They didn't have it earlier. Now they just have to kind of shake it off and find victory lane.
Can I give you a little
up? Oh, I like that.
Jefferson.
I like that. My man's got a little action there.
Sheldon Creed in this Wheeling Chevrolet, Richard Childress racing driver. Sheldon has had a tough start. He's really good in the truck series, but has had a tough start in his Xfinity career. But the last few weeks, he has put it together. They sat down, had a conversation. Man, we just got to finish races. We have enough speed. We can get this done. And Sheldon's done that. He's calmed down a little bit. He's made better decisions. And now moving into the playoffs, I think that makes this team and this driver dangerous. I think he's built some confidence. He knows how to drive these race cars. And now he's going into the playoffs with renewed enthusiasm.
Yeah, Creed making his Cup debut this weekend, so busy weekend.
Yeah, and Cole Custer. I mean, we've seen him have tremendous success on the road courses this year. was a little off for a couple of weeks, didn't have the successes that he wanted to after those road course wins, but he's been back. He's solid, and he's always really good at these mile-and-a-half racetracks. So we're going to have to keep an eye on him. I know that he has put himself in position mentally to come and try to win this championship. That's what he wants out of this after coming back from the Cup Series. He wants to prove that he is a Cup-level driver, and by winning this championship, by coming back to this series, would be a huge statement. So I'm looking for Cole Custer to make some noise today. Been excellent on these mile-and-a-half racetracks. Watch out for that 00 as we get throughout the day.
So on track, we keep talking about, this battle between Riley Herbst and Parker Kligerman. Well, right now, advantage Riley Herbst. Riley Herbst is faster on track in single speed, but also faster on a long run. This 98 car was running Parker Kligerman down by 3 to 4 tenths a lap. He has stayed on track, and it has forced Parker and his team to pit, to make a change. We've got to get better. We're not as fast as this 98. So in a battle right now, advantage Riley Herbst.
And if you see in the upper left, I said we were going to continue to the schedule that was set before practice. NASCAR has made a change, added 2 more minutes. So now we're up to 4 minutes. I tell you what I like about this 98, Brad. Last week, gets out of his car at Darlington. A lot's made about points and this and this and this and this. And he goes, I really don't care. I just want to win.
Yeah.
And I love that attitude, right? While 100%. We're going to focus on points, he says, I want to win. And I think that's the attitude that will move you forward. If you're counting points, it's a really tough challenge. How about the 48, Dave?
Among the adjustments they made last time, they had increased the air pressure in the left rear tire, Steve. They took some of that back out. Parker was complaining about this car being tight from the center of the corner off. He couldn't keep the wheel in it.
So I don't love air pressure adjustments during practice because it's on a hot tire. It's not the same thing as when you put tires on. Now, obviously, Patrick Donahue, experienced guy on top of the box, so he's making adjustments to what he wants to figure out for later today. But that goes back to what Jeff was saying of what you can do in a short practice. And what you pointed out about the 98, I think is real, Jeff. I mean, the 98 is third on the 5-lap run, right? He has definitely found a little bit more pace than what we've normally seen out of him.
It's going to be a fascinating battle today, watching these two go at it. And you think about it, you and I were having a conversation earlier today, the restarts here are nuts.
Yes, they're crazy.
And so you can have the best car. You can be running in front of a guy all day long, and he gets a better restart than you, beat you.
Yes.
And you miss the playoffs, and he moves on.
Well, another thing we need to talk about is, remember, a win and you're in.
Yes, sir.
So we can talk all the points we want, and I know Brandon Jones and Junior Motorsports have not had the year they had hoped for. He's moved over to the 9, but this is the driver that has won 2 races here at Kansas.
Yes, he has.
I think Junior Motorsports was a little behind with some rule changes over the winter. They found that pace. Jason Burdett is on the top of the box for the 9. They have to think there couldn't be a better track for Brandon to finish.
No doubt about it. If you go back a couple of weeks ago at Daytona, we heard him say this. They had some issues there, and he comes out and says, hey, Kansas is looming large, and that's a great opportunity for us. So they've been thinking about Kansas and coming to this racetrack, and absolutely coming here with a Babe Ruth walk-off home run opportunity. Yeah, I think this is a great opportunity for them to get back into the limelight.
And they've also brought nice pace here. All the Junior Motorsports cars have good pace. They have good long-run speed, including this 9 car. So, he's, 6th fastest in the 10-lap average. So, yes, he's been very good at this racetrack, and they have some speed.
Well, the Shells have moved around, crew chiefs and teams, but Junior Motorsports, with the 9 on the side,
yes,
won last year with no Gregson behind the wheel. So a lot of the key players are still kind of involved.
Well, Junior Motorsports has won 6 out of the last 7 races on mile-and-a-half tracks as well, so we got to keep that involved.
You've done some homework.
Oh, there's something in this big head. Not much, but a little bit.
No, I like look at the speed, right? So you have on 10-lap average, Custer, Sammy Smith, Allgaier. There's a JRM car in 3rd. Jones down in 6th. And if we go back to just fast lap in general, right, you see Junior Motorsports 2nd, 3rd, 7th, and Sam Mayer in 10th. And so, I think they had – look, practice is practice. It's not the race. But you got to have at least something that is close, right? Like you can win from the top 5 or the top 6. You can't win from 10th or 12th.
We're talking about practice.
It ain't the game.
We're talking about practice.
Well, listen, I will tell you one thing about practice is that one thing I get a little concerned about with Junior Motorsports. There's been many races this year that we've seen them very fast in practice, and then something in the race something in qualifying happens. They don't qualify as well as they need to, and then they're fighting from behind. So we can talk about practice and we can talk about race pace, but you got to go out and qualify well, and that's getting ready to come up right after this. And you got to connect the dots, Steve. I think it's really difficult to say, hey, we're going to go run 14, 18, 22 laps, and then we got to go run 1 lap. We got to find a way to make this car go around fast for just 1.
Well, a driver that connects the dots for 5 times he's connected the dots to win this year, John Hunter Nemechek, and he has to be feeling good as practice ends because a big week for JHN. We all wondered what was happening at Legacy. They are moving to Toyota. We knew we were going to probably see some different drivers in there. Well, John Hunter gets the nod from Toyota and Legacy. Jimmy Johnson, Richard Petty, that whole organization, they decided to put John Hunter in the car, and that's got to make you feel good, right, Jeff, to think when you get that chance. This is a guy who's been at Cup, came back down through trucks. Here he is in this 20, tearing the Xfinity Series with 5 wins.
And the plan worked. He was in Cup. He decided, hey, I got a better shot if I go back. He drove for Kyle Busch Motorsports. He ran a lot of truck races, won a lot of truck races, then went to Joe Gibbs Racing, winning a lot of Xfinity races. He did this to get back to Cup. He took a step back to take 2 steps forward.
Well, Jeff teased it. You got to put it together for 1 lap in qualifying, and that's what we're going to see. Practice is over. Hemrick fastest, Allgaier second. Qualifying up next from Kansas. Well, later today, live on USA, the first ever Super Motocross World Championship playoffs. Round 1, playoff 1 from Z-Max Dragway in Charlotte, North Carolina, right across the street from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then we have playoff 2 at Chicagoland, and then the final is September 23rd in the LA Coliseum. You get 1 point for position, then 2 points, then 3. It's kind of an escalating system. First ever time we have seen this Super Motocross World Championship, and I think Charlotte is a great place to kick it off. There's Ty Gibbs talking with Cooper Webb. Cooper Webb in his Yamaha gear returning to Yamaha, so that's a big story over there. You saw the Deegans as well. Motocross and NASCAR, everything's kind of blending together.
I think race car drivers are sane. I think these guys that do this motocross are absolutely nuts. That is the craziest thing to watch live that you've ever seen. The athleticism is absolutely off the charts of these guys riding these bikes. It's so fun to watch.
And we saw what playoffs did to NASCAR.
Yes.
Like we said, what would change?
Oh, yeah.
Everything changed. We now see playoffs in the Supercross motocross world. There's no telling what the riders are going to experience for the first time.
And where they built that track at Z-Max is incredible. It's right in between the 2 grandstands.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
like stadium seating for an incredible event.
We talk playoffs. There's some pressure. There's some playoff pressure. Cole Custer checking on his teammate. Let's take a look at practice results. Hemrick, the numbers switched, but same at Colleague Racing. Fast time for Hemrick, Allgaier, Barry, and you see Riley Herbst there in 8th. The 48 of Parker Kligerman just outside the top 10 and 13.
Yeah, we talked about Sheldon Creed in practice and his change mentally and how he approaches races.
Oh, yeah.
But it showed up in speed. I know he's 4th fastest, but I think he had one of the very best race cars in race trim.
Well, that was race trim, and that was practice. The first real competition's up next. Qualifying, Riley Herbst focused, trying to get that good qualifying lap. Welcome back to Kansas, qualifying around the corner, the last race of the regular season, trying to set the playoff field. Really one spot available. Riley Herbst and Parker Kligerman are going to battle for it, but a week ago, it was this young man, the one of Sam Mayer, who just made a mistake. Very apologetic in his interview, but in the end, the results are the same. Parker was running 12, finished 24th. After contact from the 1, spun the 48 around. Jeff, just a mistake.
Yeah, he was very apologetic, said he felt horrible about it, but that doesn't make Parker Kligerman feel any better. Parker's sitting there having a decent race, and Sam did make a mistake, and I believe Dave's with him.
I am, Jeff, and Parker said, of course, we will have to have a conversation about that. So did the conversation happen, Sam? How did it happen, and what was learned?
Yeah, we talked that night. I called him on the drive home, and, he's probably one of the most down-to-earth guys in the garage, so he's super easy to talk to if you do make a mistake. And, he shot me straight. He told me how it is, and obviously I affected their playoff run and everything like that, so I know what comes of it. I kind of felt that a little bit last year myself, so I know, but I know their cars are as fast as Xfinity 10G. Ours are as well. they're going to have to point their way in, or hell, they could win today. So you never know what's going to happen. That 48 crew. I mean, obviously Parker acknowledged last week that I'm pretty well. I'm friends with those guys over there, so it sucks to have that happen to them. But I mean, I think that they're going to be in an okay spot. Parker obviously knows this place really well, so I'm not too worried about it.
Moving on to this weekend, how was your speed this morning?
Yeah, I think we were pretty good. I mean, it's just a matter of kind of letting the track come to you. This place swings so much from left to right, so you gotta prepare for what the racetrack is going to do, but you never really know how much it's going to change with the weather.
Okay, guys, as you know, Parker solidly looking on the bubble right now. Sam is in with 2 wins. Parker still has a shot.
So what I liked right there was a different young man than we heard earlier, right? Sam Mayer is only 20 years old, and he was a little brash to start. But not only did he acknowledge the mistake, but Brad, he said, I called Parker. I didn't sit around and wait for 2 tweets and discuss it on social media. I picked up my phone on the ride home, and I called him. That had to be a difficult call to make, but I think that's showing some maturity.
Well, also you heard him say that Parker's one of the most down-to-earth guys in the garage area. If he didn't like the guy he spun at Darlington, he may not have called him. So let's think about that as well. But he is correct. He made a mistake, cost Parker an opportunity last week. But the thing about Sam, man, and we got to talk about him today as well. I mean, he's had 2 top 10s at this racetrack. He's always been fast. He's only been here a couple of times. He's gotten better. What kind of threat can he be today?
Well, I think he'd be a real threat. We said all junior motorsports cars look good. And look, Sam's a young race car driver. That's what this Xfinity Series is about. It is about teaching, having those moments, but we're doing it with millions of people watching. Yeah. And it's just a lot of pressure on young guys. And we do have to remember that they are young drivers developing their skills.
Well, and what I'll add to this playoff competition as we see Kyle Sieg in the 29 car attempting to make his first Xfinity Series start at Kansas. You know, this is race 26, and we're talking a lot about points. We're talking about that 1 spin and 1 point here and 1 point there. But this is a total regular season worth of work. 25 other races led to this.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
You know, it's easy to point to the one most memorable or the closest to you, but the truth is this is a big body of work.
No, it absolutely is. But as the athlete or as the driver, you're going to look at what happened at Darlington because that's what's in front of you. And all week long, the weeks before that, you're being asked about this. You're talking about this. The pressure is palpable. So, yeah, that incident is going to be one you're going to hang your hat on a little bit just because it's now. But absolutely, you had many weeks before this to make a difference. And so it is what it is. You move on. Anything can happen anytime on this racetrack.
That's right. We see Kyle Sieg has finished his lap. This is Leland Honeyman, the 18-year-old out of Phoenix, Arizona. Has a few starts, Jeff, 5 of them, but never on a 1.5 miles. What kind of, you know, as you see some busy hands, he caught my attention there. What kind of step is it to go to a faster speed track like this?
18-year-old, you know, sitting in an Xfinity car. These things are rolling down the straights. It's just the biggest racetrack you've ever been on, and it's a lot to learn. And I think this is a very difficult racetrack to be your first track because we talked about it being so slick. It's not a super high grip racetrack, but it looks like it is. And I think for a guy like Honeyman driving into turn 1 for the first time, you need somebody in your team saying, hey, man, think about this as a big short track.
Yeah.
That's it. Think about it as a big short track. Hit your marks. Be smart.
Well, you could call it a big short track, but I feel like these moves right here with his hands, you look right through the window.
Yeah.
They probably get your attention a little bit more at 150 miles an hour.
Oh, and then we saw earlier in practice guys coming off of 2 how light that race car gets.
Right.
You know, Roger Carruth, and they just barely touch that throttle and the car comes around on him. So for him, it's just the idea of making a good, smart lap, like Jeff said.
Joey Gase on his lap. Well, we've talked about the 48. Dave, do you got the driver?
I do. Parker is here. He has already talked with his crew chief, Patrick Donahue. What'd you come up with for qualifying? And that practice was also for the race.
Yeah, so our practice went to plan, which was great. I think we could have been a little higher up on the timing leaderboard there if I just was a little more aggressive 1 and 2, but we'll save that for qualifying, Dave. Yeah, I think we have a really good Spike Light Cooler Chevy right here. I think we confirmed some things we wanted to. We stuck to our plan and execute on that plan and learned what we wanted to, and now have a good plan for the race. So I'm very optimistic. I think we have a great car, and it can be as fast as Xfinity 10G, and we can go out there and put ourselves at the front of this race and contend. But first comes qualifying. I think for us, you know, if I just do a little better 1 and 2 than I did on those opening laps of practice, we'll find ourselves easily in the top 10. We can race from there.
Our colleagues in the booth are going to ask a question. I'll pass it on here.
Yeah, I just want to know what the nerves are like. You know, that experience of being here trying to make the playoffs. How does he feel about his nerves?
You and I were cool talking in the shade yesterday, but Burton wants to know about your nerves. Seriously.
You know, not what you'd expect maybe, because I love what Steve said a couple years ago about when you got to Daytona and we were talking about the bubble cars in the Cup Series, and he said, hey, if you need this race, shame on you. And, you know, not just, hey, shame on a race team, but, hey, look, it's a body of work over a course of a season that we just have been, we're in the position we should be off the work we've done. So I haven't been perfect, team hasn't been perfect, but we've been getting better and better, and that's put us in this position. But with that, you know, I don't feel immense amount of pressure because I know we have the race team to go get it tomorrow or today. Sorry, we've got hopefully the speed in the race car, and so all those things combined, I just, you know, I'm very calm about this. Approach it like any other race, aiming to go win both stages and win the race.
Keep doing the good work, guys.
So Dave, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Look both those guys in the eyes. Who looks confident? Who looks like the nerves are getting to him?
I'm telling you, neither one of them. I mean, Parker's so cool. As Sam even said in his interview a couple minutes ago, he's just one of the most down-to-earth guys in the garage area. So, yeah, I mean, he's calm and literally talking to Riley yesterday in the shade and a couple of directors' chairs. He just wanted to chat. He's just like, man, I want to win. I know people are going to think I'm just, you know, painting that way, but I'm not nervous about the points. I just want to go out there and win. Haven't done that yet. And so I don't know, Jeff. I think it's a tie right now.
I like it. I like firsthand. We see Timmy Hill fastest in the 66 car to 31.88. Dawson Cram, though, was trending green in 1 and 2. Only about a week away from Dawson turning 22 years old.
Well, these guys are awful young, and it's good to see this series is bringing these young, talented young men in and you know, cultivating them like Jeff talks about. That's what this series is about. But 18 and 22, boy, they're going to be, you know, by the time they've run this series for a few years, they're going to be the grizzled vets at 25 and hopefully have an opportunity to move on.
So at 22, you don't think they're going to have that same 6-minute conversation we had about the best way to not have your back hurt just sitting up here? So young.
It's coming to him, though.
Oh, man. Oh, Mason Massey under his lap right here. Got his third Xfinity Series top 10 finish. The last time he was in the car at New Hampshire. Third time he's taken the green here at Kansas.
Yeah, you look at Parker, you know, you go back and talk about the nerves and all that. And, you know, Parker has had a little bit of success here. You know, he got his start here, if you remember, back in 2009. And so he comes in as kind of the grizzled vet of the group. You know, Parker's been around a little while. He's raced in each series and has a lot of experience. And that's what you heard in his conversation is the experience. He's not worried about the nerves. He is concentrating on what does the path look like? What is the path throughout the day that ends up with him with opportunity to race into the playoffs? And that's a veteran mentality.
See the 02 of Blaine Perkins, autoparkit.com on the hood of the 02. It's a good-looking race car. I know Dale Jr. is going to love those yellow skirts. He likes a painted skirt. He likes that thing down close to the ground, makes it look sealed off. And regular color wheels. Jeff, I know you're a big fan of the white wheels on that Brett Moffitt car.
Oh, yeah, I love white wheels. Blaine Perkins, he's got a few truck starts here.
Let's see where Perkins clocks in. Dawson Cram currently fastest in qualifying. Blaine Perkins in 5th. More cars still to go. Qualifying underway at Kansas. We have Nick Lights in the 38. Remember, he got spun around in practice, so his practice was shortened. Got 4 fresh good years on this 38 car now.
And that makes this lap exceptionally difficult. So, you know, Nick making his first start here, spun the car out in practice, went through those tires, did not get to make another lap. And so here's a young race car driver now being told, hey, man, go out there and run your qualifying lap, right? And so what's the goal here? The goal for me is just make a clean lap, right? Just make a clean lap, get a decent speed. We're going to start this race from a position. We're not going to wreck this race car, and we're going to let you go learn. We're going to let you run every lap today. That's what the goal for me would be for this young driver.
So you run down in the corner and practice like he did and spin that car. It just gets out from under. It gets light, Jeff. How do you go back and qualify and get through that corner mentally?
Slowly.
That QR
that's
code.
Not the goal. That's not the goal. You want to go fast.
I was wondering, QR code on the hood. What is it? What is it? Well, this is Support a Teacher. That's the sponsor of this car. Great program on 38. The 38 clocks in fourth. Pretty decent for a guy that was backwards his last time on the track. Dave.
Riley Herbst has had a lot of teachers around him, helping him get through last weekend and this weekend. What's the vibe been like for you? We talked yesterday. You said you weren't nervous.
Yeah, we're at a racetrack. We're having fun. I think we have a really fast Monster Energy car this weekend, and just the guys at Stewart Haas Racing have been doing a really good job this year on myself and then 00 car. So we're looking forward to today. I think we prepared well. I prepared well. We're gonna put the chips down on the table and go race and kind of see where they fall. But as I told you yesterday, Dave, we're not just necessarily here for playoffs. We're here to win and for me to grow and become a better race car driver. So that big next step that I need to achieve myself is win a race, and I think we have a good shot today.
How do you approach the one very important lap coming up in qualifying?
Homework, studying, feeling like you're back in 8th grade or high school, and just preparing the night before, understanding what you need to do, what you need out of your race car, and having good communication. And I feel like me and Davin have built good communication over the last summer, and I think we'll be close. We'll have to go out here, and the track's getting hotter as we speak right now, so it's going to be interesting to see how the early cars match up to the later cars.
Great. Thanks, Riley. Good luck. Remember that communication, so important between crew chief and driver. That change was just made at Nashville when we took over on the air. They've been getting that relationship better and understanding each other how to do the work.
Yeah, Dave, that change, you know, now it's time for it to pay off, right? That now you're in the playoffs. Now let's go make it pay off. Josh Williams here. Kyle Weatherman, he laid a big lap down, almost 4/10 quicker than Dawson Cram currently to sit on the pole. Williams here, he's P2 currently. Saw him at dinner last night. Tried to talk him into buying our dinner. He wouldn't do it.
I thought he was trying to get you to buy his.
Oh, I took it the other way.
I could tell. Oh.
I think one of the things with Riley Herbst as well, you know, you hear him talk about doing his homework and being prepared, and we all focus on him as the race car driver and Park as the race. If you look at Riley Herbst's pit crew, they're the second best crew on pit road. That could be huge as we get throughout the day. And where Parker's crew is about 19th. That's a big difference. That could be a lot of track position. That could be a lot of points. And like we talked about, those points are going to be critical throughout the day.
A point per position. It's very simple.
Per position.
Every position
right.
on the racetrack
That's
is a
right.
point. So if your pit crew gains you 5, they're really gaining
5
you
points.
5 points. As we see Matt Mills, JF Electric on the hood, qualifies in the 4th position. Dave, you are hustling down there.
Brandon Jones, Steve, has had the magic here in the past. What's the translation from your win with JGR to possibly winning and getting yourself in the playoffs here with JRM?
If I had to probably pick any track and say you got to come and win at one to get in, I'd probably pick this, Martinsville, I guess, or Michigan. You know, those are really my top 3 that I really look at. But another really good practice session for us. You know, obviously didn't just get a massive number in practice on the board, but felt really good about our long run speed here today. So, yeah, move mindsets on to qualifying now. I think that it's not super important to be pole position here, but it definitely makes things a little bit nicer. I'd like to be able to pace the field today and kind of control the race a little bit, but still, all in all, know how to get that done. We've done that here as well, but I think we've got speed enough to be able to do it. So big thanks to Nipco, Menards. I feel like today's going to be a good day for us. It's going to be a good show this afternoon.
Last chance to get in the playoffs. Brandon Jones has to win, Steve, to get in.
He has to win, but as we've mentioned earlier, he's won here twice. I kind of like the attitude. I like the swagger. Every time I talk to him, I'm waiting for him to tell me that it's been a disappointing year, but he's like super positive.
Yeah,
I could use some Brandon Jones calls about like, hey man, I'm having a bad day, Brandon. Like, you know,
no, you're not.
Perk me up a little bit. He always looks at it, which is good because his crew chief Jason Burdett, very smart, but he is not an energized guy, right? He's pretty flat line. How about this guy right here, Connor Mozak, Victory Lane, yesterday in the ARCA race, first real stock car win.
Yeah, he's only got, he's got one start as well on a 1.5 mile track at Charlotte. But had a big day yesterday, man. Great job going out, being strong throughout the day. Had a fast race car. Just took care of business. So that gives you a lot of confidence as well as he comes into the day, Jeff.
For sure. That ARCA experience is so valuable. And then Sam Hutt Racing, this 24 team, they keep building. They're building and just trying to make that a better race team. They've done a really nice job in the Xfinity Series. I expect even bigger things from them in the future.
Anthony Alfredo, I think I might have bought the right front tire on this car with how many times I went to Andy's this week. Some good frozen custard. Anthony doing a nice job in this 78. We've seen him at RCR and some other different rides over the course of his career. And I think he's kind of trying to elevate this program. I spent some time with Pat Trison, longtime Cup crew chief back at Darlington, and he said that same thing. He said, you know, every time we make our car better, Anthony runs faster. And that's really what he's looking for, is just can he get the potential out of the equipment. But he did mention the accidents have really put this team behind. They can't put the cars together that they want because they're really just trying to keep cars together and bring them into the racetrack.
Yeah, Anthony does a good job. He's got 2 starts here. And like you say, the accidents over the previous races is really, like you say, just kind of put him in a bad position. But Anthony's a heck of a race car driver. He's very fast, and he'll get the most out of the equipment. And I love the fact that Pat talks about him getting faster when they give him better equipment. And that's what you want to see.
Heard a little time out of the gas, and 1 and 2 for Kaz Gralla, Jeff.
Yeah, he's running this bottom lane, looking for that white line as his guide. When can I go back to the throttle? How hard can I drive in the corner? It's a feel thing. You know, you're seeing the racetrack, but you're feeling the race car, knowing how hard you can drive it. Another Sam Hunt car.
Island Coastal on the hood of this car. I bring that up because they have a lot of activation. Every market we come to, we see them. 2 free right there. We just see that sponsor activating grocery stores, different areas around. I love when a sponsor uses their driver and uses their imaging of their car. They do a really nice job out in the community each week we're at the racetrack.
Yeah, when he said 2 free, what he's saying is just the back of the car did not have the stability he needed to drive it as hard as he wanted to. He always felt like he was going to spin out. Ryan Sieg here, good corner so far. Let's see if he can carry it down into turn 3.
This is an interesting racetrack, like you mentioned earlier, Jeff. I mean, these guys get down into 1 and 2. That race car gets a little bit light. I mean, we go to a lot of these mile-and-a-halfs, and these guys are basically wide open. But we're watching this today. I'm going to watch 1 and 2 all day long after that practice session because those cars have a difficult time of getting through the corner.
Yeah, it sounds kind of an odd sound on the clean cut. I'm not sure exactly what that was, but you talk about how this track is different. Well, Ryan Sieg must like it, right, because he finished top 10 in 5 of the last 6 races here, so he's found a way to have it be a good day. Well, we are in Kansas, and it's a sports town. We got the battle of the Kansas universities here today on this 6 car. Oh, as we see a little bit of a wiggle right here. The sponsor itself is B1 Sports, which helps athletes, but it is covered with Kansas athletes all around this race car. Kansas 2-0. They beat Illinois last night from Lawrence, Kansas. Only 26 miles from here, so it's right down the street.
One of the greatest college basketball programs in the nation. Bill Self, just an incredible basketball coach, Hall of Fame coach. Those guys are in the top 5 every year. Fun to watch.
Well, we're going to see how they stack up because there's a K-State car that will be coming after. Right there, Kansas K-State.
Bring it on, baby.
Back-to-back in qualifying, and I mentioned it, right? Kansas, it is a sports state. You got the Chiefs, you got the Royals, you name it, Patrick Mahomes. We talked about the colleges.
And you got ribs, man. What are you talking about sports? You got ribs in this town.
Oh, come on. I love a sports town. Well, I promised the K-State car. We're going to see it take its qualifying lap, and it's a full day of action. We got the Dale Jr. download up next with Chip Ganassi. Always fun to listen to what he has to say. Then Cup qualifying at noon, also on USA. Then we move over to NBC, 3 o'clock countdown to green, and then racing at 3:30 NBC and on Peacock. And then tomorrow, all day racing on USA, 2:30 countdown to green, 3 o'clock, the Cup Series, the second race of the first round. Larson won race 1. Will it be another playoff winner? Remember, Larson and Hamlin got together here in the spring. Storylines galore for tomorrow. All right, Kansas, K-State. This is going to be a battle we're going to see all day. Man, you pumped that Kansas basketball program. You want to give K-State no love over there?
I'm going to give them some love. I was coming. So Coach Tang, Jerome Tang's the guy over at Kansas State. They're good. They got a good program over there. Kansas has had their number for the last several years, kind of like North Carolina has Duke's number. So, yeah, but Coach Tang's got a good crew, a young basketball team. They're going to be formidable, fun to watch.
All right, hold on. Before we dig into that disaster and argument up here between North Carolina and Duke, Dave, save me.
Something else Kansas is known for, a lot of corn. So the 7 car has the corn number on again this weekend, which is great to see. Justin looked very quick in practice. How will it be in qualifying?
I don't know. You know, obviously, you know, this racetrack is so unique. We started practice this morning. It was considerably cooler than it is right now, and the sun had a lot of turn 1 and 2 shaded. So, yeah, I think there's some question marks. What lane do you run? What's going to be the fastest? You know, we all migrated to the top by the end of practice, but what's going to be good for that one lap. So, proud of the effort, proud of everybody at Junior Motorsports. All 4 of our Junior Motorsports Camaros were really fast. We were P2 on the board with our Brent Fresh Giant Culture Camaro. The goal is to be P1, right? So, we got our work cut out for us. There's some other cars that are really good, but, we'll go out there, we'll give it our best, and obviously the goal is to be as fast as Xfinity 10G whenever we go qualify, so we're going to go do that.
Great. Thanks, Justin. He rolls off soon, guys.
Well, we'll see what the 7 does, but first it was the man on top of the board in practice, Hemrick, in the new number 10, swapped because of the owner's situation in the playoffs, but let's see what kind of speed he has here in qualifying.
Yeah, and Brett Moffitt went just before this 10 car. Brett right now is currently fastest. He won a truck race here a few years ago. Hemrick's going to beat that time, but this kind of sets the stage for how much speed this track has in it. A 92, that's a little slower than what they ran in practice, but you just heard Allgaier talking about the heat coming up in this racetrack. It's going to get slicker. It's going to lose grip. So how fast can you go? That's something the drivers really don't know. The only way to find out is just sit it down in the corner.
You're right. And that cool racetrack with Hemrick earlier, he ran faster than the qualifying speed here last year, and you just saw that with a little bit of heat getting in this racetrack, slowed him down a little bit. It's going to be interesting.
Rajah also spun in practice earlier, so he didn't get many laps either. So sending him out, in a qualifying situation where you got to go out and lay a lap time down. Again, for him, I think it's just make this a clean lap. Like, let's don't make a mistake. Let's don't get in the wall. We'll start this race, and there's a lot of learning to do.
Nice clean lap for the 45 Dave.
With John Hunter Nemechek now, who's had a big week, big announcement about going to the Cup Series, back to the Cup Series next year. What's it been like, and how do you focus now on today?
Well, I'm glad that the news is out there. Excited for the opportunity to go to Legacy Motor Club next year. But it's out, so now it's full focus on 2023 and going to try and win this Xfinity Series championship. Guys have brought a really fast Toyota GR Supra, almost as fast as Xfinity 10G. Need a little bit more in the long run, but right now I'm debating where I'm going to qualify. So it's up for discussion, but overall really excited for the future. But we'll focus on that after we get done at Phoenix.
Thanks, John. You heard it in his voice. He told me yesterday, indeed, that was the big thing. It's out, it's done. Now I can focus on winning this championship before I move on.
Well, John Hunter's kind of an emotional guy. Like, I don't think he's the guy that wants to sit on secrets. He wants everybody to know. So good for him. We saw Joe Graff Jr. in another Joe Gibbs entry, qualified 3rd while we were talking to John Hunter. And now here is Parker. And it kind of starts right away. First stage of this race is 45 laps, points on the line. So you want to qualify well. Let's see what Parker can do.
Came to the line really well, ran that high groove in 3 and 4, had good speed getting into 1. It's about a 1/10 of a second off of Hemrick so far down the back straightaway. You saw a lot of wheel movement from Parker. He's not real comfortable with his car. See all that shaking of the wheel? That's trying to understand your grip level. Out of the gas.
Boy, he had a moment there. My goodness. Trying to get everything out of this thing.
This is not the lap they were hoping for. P5.
There's a lot of cars still to go, right? I'd be shocked if that ends up inside the top 10, top 12.
Yeah, had a little bobble there right off of 4. Just the car just kind of stepped out just a hair. And like Jeff was talking about, he was trying to find that grip level. You saw the wheel shaking and just got away from him a little bit.
Jeff, you talk about a series that's all about young drivers. No better example than Sammy Smith, right? 19 years old, got that win early, 4th race of the season back at Phoenix. And you and I both spent some time with his crew chief in Darlington, and he was just to the point, which is we just got to stop hitting stuff. We got to stop wrecking cars, stop making mistakes. He said that they have actually probably hit more and wrecked more than they've actually finished, and they needed to turn that around because this is what Sammy Smith can do with talent.
Yeah.
Fast on the racetrack.
No doubt about it. I mean, he finished 8th here in a couple seasons ago, so he's got the potential to have a great day. But, like, you got to be in the race. You got to run those laps. That experience is so important for these young race car drivers. But when you got talent and you have a little bit of patience, boy, good things can happen.
And that's, you said that. That's exactly what this driver and team have done this year. They've done the opposite of what we just talked about. Like, they don't have the speed that Sammy Smith has, but what they do have is laps run. They run every lap. They make sure that they're going to finish races. They won the race at Talladega, so Jeb and this team are moving on into the playoffs. But that consistency makes them dangerous going into the playoffs.
And Jordan Anderson is working really hard to put this deal together for another year. I can't wait to hear whatever. I hope that announcement's around the corner. I think this is a great match, right? Size of the team, the driver, where they're at in their careers, it just seems to really mesh.
Yeah, Jordan Anderson is a hustler. He gets after it. He's out trying to put all the pieces and parts together. And I absolutely love Jeb Burton. I think he's a heck of a race car driver.
So Sammy Smith currently fastest on the board. Watch this car, how hard it hits when he leaves the banking and goes down to the apron, just trying to shortcut the racetrack. You see it hit the racetrack. It bends the left front fender up a little bit. All of them do it because it just makes the track a little bit shorter, but it does do just a little bit of damage to that left front splitter and the left front fender.
Does it unload that race car a little bit, too? If you're racing someone, you get down and you jump down onto that apron. Does that loosen that race car up by unloading it a hair?
It just hits so hard. I don't really think it loosens it up. It just kind of takes the whole car out of the track just for just a moment.
Yeah.
Shocking for the 31. I thought Parker Etzlaff would be a little bit quicker than that. Over a second off the fast time so far. That's the second Jordan Anderson entry.
Well, he did a good job last week at Darlington. He did a really nice job, had good speed, ran with some really good drivers.
So here's the man, the must-win guy. Now, anyone who is eligible, which means they've attempted every race, there's a list of them. If they win, they advance. But when we look at that list, we all have this driver circled as the one that we feel realistically has a shot. 2 wins here. Man, a really good entry. Can he keep the momentum? Oh, he does.
Oh, but I bet he can't stay in the gas right there. The car came up the racetrack so much, he probably had to give up a little bit, but still a good solid lap.
I Rick Allen'd him.
No. He made the lap. He finished the lap.
Okay, fair. Well, Brandon Jones qualifies second. Currently at the moment, Sammy Smith at the top, though. Still a bunch of cars to come.
There's no place like Kansas.
Great flags in the air.
This is a tough track.
He gets turned on.
The race for the NASCAR championship runs 185 miles per hour straight through the heartland.
He's going to do it. He's going to win in Kansas.
Drivers, start your engines. The NASCAR playoffs continue at Kansas on USA.
For over 20 years, Kansas Speedway has been on the NASCAR schedule, and we have seen battles on top of battles here. Cup Series, trucks, Xfinity, you name it, we have seen it. A mile and a half that just looks so simple, but is anything but, continues to shock, to be quite honest. There's no other way to put it, right? Every time we come here to Kansas, we think we have an idea what we're going to see, and it's been about impossible to predict.
Yeah. Think about this racetrack. Think about what it goes through during the wintertime. You know, this place gets pummeled in snow, freezing cold. And then we bounce out here into the summer. I mean, they had a 100-degree day out here the other day. So
I'm going to take your word on that winter. I'm from Maine. I've seen enough snow. I ain't making it.
Never again.
Nope, can't do it.
Well, Chandler Smith, this guy got off to a super hot start, won early this year. Going into the playoffs, you know, I feel like they've lost a little bit of speed from where they were early in the year, but Chandler Smith is an aggressive race car driver, and you know he's going to be pushing the button. Dave is with Austin Hill.
Regular season leader right now. A lot on the line for you today. How was the car in practice, Austin?
Well, we fought a lot of balance issues with our Bennett Chevrolet, just being really free on entry, just free through the entire corner. So we do have a little work to do. I'm not sure what it's going to do for qualifying here. It always drafts different qualifying, but have a lot of faith in my guys. Everybody at RCR and ECR has been working really hard this season. We want to keep this regular season championship under wraps and get the extra 15 bonus points going into the playoffs. So we just got to dig deep today. Even if we don't have a perfect car, we just got to minimize mistakes and be there at the end.
Go get it. Last to roll off today, guys.
Oh, so 15 bonus points real quick. Regular season champion gets 15. Second in points gets 10. 8, 7, 6, and so forth through the top 10. We see Sam Mayer 7th. I'm not sure he's going to love that lap, but that interview is Austin Hill in a nutshell. I don't know how we're going to run. It's going to be okay. He's going to kind of figure a way to get through the first couple stages, and I can almost guarantee we're going to have a late restart and be like, oh, look who's in row 2. Austin Hill. Like, he just continues to put himself in position.
And what's interesting about that, he's super aggressive. Like, he is an aggressive race car driver, but he makes it work. Sheldon Creed got into turn 1 really good, but could not carry that speed through the center of the corner and on corner exit. You wonder if the racetrack isn't just getting hotter and hotter and slicker, and that lap by Sammy Smith is going to be a difficult lap to beat.
And speaking of aggressive, you're talking about Sheldon Creed here.
Yes, sir.
Very aggressive race car driver. Sometimes I think a little too aggressive. But, man, I keep waiting on him to win one race, then 2 races, then a bunch of races, because he's very talented, very talented.
And if you're watching qualifying, you see Parker Kligerman there in 9th. Every car that he beats is really important for him and where he starts because of that tight point battle that he's in. And I do think this track heating up is an advantage to him.
So we mentioned the Hemrick move to the 10 car. Well, this is the 11 that Daniel Hemrick was driving for Colleague. Now it's Derek Kraus behind the wheel of the 11.
Derek Kraus has run a lot of late model races around the country, been running truck series. Good little talented race car driver.
He's got 4 top 10s in the truck series here. So absolutely very talented young man. Just about getting that experience and seat time.
Watched him race a lot.
Yeah.
All right, field is set because the 48 has put his lap down. You talked about every position matters, but this is the position that Parker cares about the most. Where he's going to start relative to Riley Herbst. It doesn't guarantee anything, but it's the first kind of competition, right? This is the first drive of a football game or the first quarter of a basketball game. This is a chance where you can kind of set the expectation for the rest of the day.
Well, Riley won practice compared to Parker, but you got to win qualifying. Because practice doesn't pay anything.
That's right.
Qualifying is a real tangible value of being able to start in front of the guy you're competing against.
And a good start to the lap. He's going to have a little bit of a high exit here. Looked like he lost the back of the car. Kind of stopped losing time, though. Got it going back in the right direction. And that is a big lap from Riley Herbst. He's going to be 4th currently. Parker back in 10th, so at least 6 positions between them. Why does that matter? Lap 45, stage 1 will end. That's a long ways from the start of the race, but 45 can go by quickly. That's less than a fuel run, so they don't need a pit stop. Where you start can definitely affect where you're going to finish in stage 1.
So right now, if you're Parker Kligerman, you feel like you're behind the 8 ball just a little bit. So got to get things going. Got to figure it out.
How about Josh Berry? He went straight to the top of the racetrack and won. And look at what it's doing down the back straightaway. Everybody else has been on the bottom. It looked like he gave up speed, but it worked for him down the straight. Now he's trying it in 3 and 4, running the top line. All right, boys, follow you. A little contact with the wall.
Oh, he's losing it.
Oh, that's going to cost.
The wall scrape. That scrape on the wall killed it.
All right. So now everybody behind just saw that. Everybody left to go. What do you do? Do you run the top? Josh Berry has tempted me to go run the top in 1 and 2 and the bottom in 3 and 4.
Oh, it just scrubbed off enough speed to take him. Man, he was going to lay down a monster lap. Oh, there's just sliding a little bit, yawing a little bit.
If I'm spotter or crew chief, I'm telling my driver, hey, let's rip the top in 1 and 2 and get back to the bottom in 3 and 4. Let's see what that can get us.
And this guy could do it. This is the loose race car getting around that corner, getting up, ripping that top.
And the 7 just ran the bottom and said, no, if your car drives good, Jeff, you copy everyone else. I'm going to make my stuff drive good around the bottom.
Look at this lap.
What a good lap.
Junior Motorsports is on the scene. There's been a lot made out about their lack of speed this year versus last year. There were rule changes and things over the winter that hurt Junior Motorsports. I think they took offense to those comments, which is great. And they went to work, and they found some pace, and now Allgaier with a big lap. That is great. Playoffs are hit. Like, if you're going to be good, now's the time.
100%.
Yeah, they're coming in hot. Cole Custer. I think we all have a great deal of respect for what Cole Custer does behind the wheel of a race car. You know, we talked about John Hunter Nemechek. He took a step back, went to trucks, stepped up to Xfinity, getting back to the Cup Series, using that. This Cole Custer's the exact same thing. Left the Cup Series, back in Xfinity, trying to prove his way prove his way back into the Cup Series. Where he ends up here.
2/10 is third because that lap from Allgaier was so impressive, right? I mean, that's where the gap looks bad, but the gap to first is so big that you end up better than you think. So now there's 2 left. We have John Hunter Nemechek and the 21 of Austin Hill. John Hunter, so good in qualifying, 5 wins on the season, already in the green, coming to start his lap. He's going to run kind of middle top. So he gives up a ton of time on entry, which is what you would expect, but you need to make it up down the backstretch. He kind of is, but not enough so far.
It's going to be an interesting championship battle. John Hunter is going to be right in the mix of it. There's no doubt in my mind. They have good speed every week. And John, I think, is doing the best driving job in his career. He's been calmer. He's still fast. Maturing as a race car driver.
Well, we'll see what Austin Hill can lay down. John Hunter Nemechek ends up 7th. Decent lap. Let's see what the 21 can do. Austin said the car wasn't great. It was okay. Going to have to race smart today, but let's see if he was pulling our leg just a little bit.
There you go.
Yep.
Ripping the top. Let's see if he can gain down the back straightaway the way we saw Barry. Just gave up way too much. Just
stalled out a little bit there.
He was honest.
He
wasn't quite sure what his car had. I'm sure he's going to keep working on it. But with that lap right there, that puts the 7 of Justin Allgaier on the pole for the 9th time in his career. The 37-year-old, the last time he was on the pole, Charlotte in the spring, Dave. You know what happened there? He was the man in victory lane at the end of the day.
You know, let's see if Allgaier remembers the last time he was on the pole. That led to a win. Well done, my friend.
Thank you. You know, obviously that's the important part of the day, right? You know, the track position is so important. Just proud of the team. I mean, yeah, I get to be the one that holds the wheel, but the craftsmanship and the work that goes into these race cars to make them that good. I was getting really nervous, as hot as it was getting, that we were going to be able to run as good of a lap as we did. So really proud of the effort. You know, again, just hats off to everybody at Junior Motorsports, at Hendrick Engine Shop, everybody at Chevrolet. Our Brent Fresh Jack Coach Camaro was really, really good. I think we were better in race trim than we were in qualifying trim, so that's hopefully a good omen for this afternoon. But yeah, we're going to see what happens.
We saw your teammate Josh run high, and then just get the wall down there. Did you ever think about doing that, or were you going to be low both sides?
We talked about it a lot. You know, obviously as practice went on, we all kind of gravitated towards the top, and we weren't really sure what to expect. And I feel like we looked at it, and we just felt like the bottom was going to be better for qualifying. As soon as he left, or as soon as I left, I asked how he was running, because I knew he was running the top, and it was going to be interesting to see how it went. You know, I don't know if the scuff off of 4 was the difference maker in lap time or not, but definitely knew that it was going to be, you'd have to get a perfect lap to run the top, I think. And, you know, I still missed 3 and 4 a little bit on the bottom, but I got through 1 and 2 so good. I think that was really what saved our qualifying effort right there. But, you know, at some point, somebody's got to try something different, and, you know, happy that Josh tried it, and I'm sure that when we get to the race, it'll be a little bit different.
Justin Allgaier tried what he wanted to do, guys. It worked out very well.
Yeah, worked out very well. Best start. This will be the best start for Allgaier here in Kansas. Let's take a look at where everyone else kind of filed in qualifying. It'll be Justin Allgaier and Sammy Smith on the front row. Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, 3 different manufacturers up front.
Brandon Jones, row 2, got to win this race to make the playoffs. Got a good starting spot.
How about Riley Herbst in row 4? Got himself a decent starting spot. Got to create a little bit of gap between he and the guy he's competing against today, and Parker Kligerman, who's in row 8.
Yeah, you see him back there. He's going to start next to Sheldon Creed. In front of Sam Mayer, you know, a week ago. Well, it always works. If you have an issue a week ago, you start next to one another. You see Jeb Burton there in row 9 next to Derek Kraus in that Collin car. Connor Mozak working off that win last night.
Dawson Crown. Parker, we talked about Parker, had a really good run last week driving that 31 car.
Yeah, you see Kaz Gralla and Anthony Alfredo back at 16, and then a little bit further back, Brendan Poole, Garrett Smithley. Dave, I think you've caught up with another driver who had a pretty good day in qualifying.
The last few weeks have not ended the way Sammy Smith would like them. Was today something you guys really needed as a team, Sammy?
Yeah, we had a good reset, and this is what we needed. We had a good, solid practice, good, solid qualifying effort. I think we got a fast TMC Toyota GR Supra, so hopefully he can keep it up front all day and then just be there at the end.
I've known Jeff Mendering, crew chief, for a long time. What is a reset in the 18 team this year?
There's a lot that went on to a reset, but yeah, I feel good about this week and need some good momentum going to the playoffs. And I think, you know, we have a good, solid team around us to go make it to the championship four. We just got to put together every week and do that in the playoffs, and I feel strong about it. So hopefully we can do that today.
Sammy Smith, 18 on the front row, Steve.
Yeah, front row, good start when they're trying to set the playoff field. This is the last race of the regular season for the Xfinity Series, but the playoffs, they are in full swing on the Cup side. This will be the second race of the first round.
Here comes Denny Hamlin. They're side by side. Larson pushes the wall again.
Whoa, Hamlin gets into Larson. Larson's in the fence. Hamlin will make the move. Larson will regroup. Denny Hamlin takes the lead.
Checkered flag in the air. Denny Hamlin will win the Advent Health 400 at Kansas Speedway.
What a fight, Denny Hamlin. So proud of you, Denny.
Today, Dale Jr. Download's up next here on USA, and then Cup practice. We just saw what happened here in the spring. Practice of qualifying noon on USA. Then we switch over Peacock and on NBC, 3 o'clock, Countdown to Green. Xfinity Series race at 3:30 tomorrow. Everything on USA with the pre-race Countdown to Green starting at 2:30, and then the green flag around 3 o'clock for the second race in the Cup Series. All right, it was Larson.
Yeah.
He rang the bell in the first race. A little bit of trouble for McDowell, kind of puts him at the bottom there at -19, but I think it's still kind of anyone's match from probably Brad all the way down to Ricky. So close in the points.
I agree 100%. I think there's still some opportunity for some guys to shine that we're not talking about enough. And that one guy would be Chris Buescher. I think he has had an unbelievable run to these playoffs. I think he can be a threat in these playoffs. And don't forget about William Byron. I know everybody's talking Kyle Larson. Don't forget about Willie B.
So, Jeff, I want to talk about 5th and 6th. Hamlin and Truex, great runs a week ago. Hamlin, unbelievable. Truex was trying to come from the back. Both had loose wheels. Do they have to be concerned, or at 25 points, are they still thinking win?
I think the entire field has to be concerned. How many drivers and how many teams made mistakes last week? It was a great deal of drivers that just simply drove in the wall, simply made mistakes on pit road. Teams made mistakes. You can't do it 2 weeks in a row. And by the way, it didn't get any easier. This racetrack, although Darlington's the hardest racetrack we go to, this one ain't easy. And then next week, you go to Bristol. You just cannot afford the mistakes that we saw last week.
Brad, Kevin Harvick.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to get the storybook last week. He had the pace to compete at Darlington. Came on pit road, it was closed, ended his chance. Do we see the same speed out of the 4?
I think we see the same speed, but they've not been able to put the race together like we're accustomed to seeing. And I think that's going to create some problems for them. I'm concerned for that 4 team because they have not been consistent on pit road, off of pit road, and throughout the day.
And listen, we can't say it enough. Kansas is anything but easy. We just saw it when the Xfinity Series guys, 2 wrecks in practice. The pressure is on. What will we see out of the Cup guys? I know they have more experience, but there's so much on the line. They're already in the playoffs. Next up, the Dale Jr. Download with Chip Ganassi, and then after that, hang around. It'll be Cup Series practice and qualifying from Kansas. Justin Allgaier will lead the field to green later today on NBC for the Xfinity Series race.